So, welcome to the next in our online series of messages brought to you by the folks at the Raleigh Congregational Church. This is Reverend Tom Bentley, the pastor, hoping that these messages can help you in your journey in life. If you'd like to know more about the ministry and work of the Raleigh Congregational Church, there'll be a little bit of information at the end of this video. So, peace and best wishes in this time of Epiphany. Grace you and peace from God our Creator and our friend and Savior Jesus. Our story in the Gospel is about the arriving of the Magi. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem village, Judah territory, this was during Herod's kingship, a band of scholars arrived in Jerusalem from the east. They asked around, "Where can we find and pay homage to the newborn King of the Jews? We observed a star in the eastern sky that signaled his birth. We're on pilgrimage to worship him." When word of their inquiry got to Herod, he was terrified, and not Herod alone, but most of Jerusalem as well. Herod lost no time. He gathered all the high priests and religion scholars in the city together and asked, "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?" They told him, "Bethlehem, Judah territory. The prophet Micah wrote it plainly. It's you, Bethlehem, in Judah's land, no longer bringing up the rear. From you will come the leader who will shepherd, rule my people Israel." Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars from the east. Pretending to be as devout as they were, he got them to tell him exactly when the birth announcement star appeared. Then he told them the prophecy about Bethlehem and said, "Go find this child. Leave no stone unturned. As soon as you find him, send word, and I'll join you at once in your worship." Instructed by the king, they set off, and then the star appeared again, the same star they had seen in the eastern skies. It led them on until it hovered over the place of the child. They could hardly contain themselves. They were in the right place. They had arrived at the right time. They entered the house and saw the child in the arms of Mary, his mother. Overcome, they kneeled and worshipped him. Then they opened their luggage and presented gifts: gold, frankincense, myrrh. In a dream, they were warned not to report back to Herod, so they worked out another route, left the territory without being seen, and returned to their own territory. In our current time, maybe we can take some guidance from these wandering scholars who are trying to figure out what's up. We have clearly lost our way in our modern time. Every age feels a certain amount of disconcertion and confusion, but the events of the last few years drive home that we are not so aware of what's happening and how to engage it. Even though we know a lot more about what the planets are made of and the sun, and we have our Big Bang theory, and we have this incredible cosmology of astrophysics to guide us in our understanding of the physical realm, we seem lost in that intuitive space as what is it to be a human being? How can we engage one another? Are we going to even survive, or is some deeper urge within us welling up to destroy us? This is the realm of that intuition, the questions about events and pending circumstances for which we cannot find any certain answers. But we need to begin to figure out how to navigate our own world as human beings. The guidance we can take from the story of the Magi in this season of Epiphany is that intuition itself can be a great guide for asking the fundamental questions, but it is best when faith informs that intuition, because then we can find our way to a safety and a blessing. The story of these wise men is a message of warning, really, to those who are trying to stop the flow of God's gracious and liberating work in the world. Herod, the threatened, paranoid king in the story, wants to figure out how to upset the flow of power away from him to this new individual who is the Messiah for the Jewish people. Or so that's the story he hears. Well, Herod can do whatever he wants. He can pull any strings, and he certainly does try to do that. He can commit atrocities, and he did. But Herod and anyone else who wants to do the same will find out you can't win. That's the power of this story. That the movement of divine providence, of love and grace, that yes, the arc of the universe bending towards justice, that inevitable push to the greater and betterment of what we hope for in the future. That's what we're called to see. And as we intuit out in that vagueness of darkness, as we try to navigate by the starlight perceived, can we know that internal in ourself is a light of great purpose? The Gospel of John says, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Existence is a continual struggle between the light and the dark. Assurance of faith is that the light will prevail somehow, some way. Maybe, like those magi from so long ago, our first calling must now be simply to be who we were made to be. We're made to be journeyers and seekers. Let's keep our hearts open. Let's keep our vision clear, and to realize that we're called to step out in faith in those moments when the circumstance demand. Just as the Magi were quite shrewd in their navigation to find that child, they were even more shrewd in their navigation to avoid the corruption and the violence of the evil one personified in Herod and his reign. Somehow we need to take these gifts of God that we have, and we need to realize that they are being called to be brought to their natural conclusions. There's an inevitability of grace in this universe. And the good news of Jesus Christ is to announce that completion and that purpose of God's abiding presence. Messiah is to guide us and to be the one who offers us redemption despite our shortcomings, our unwitting collusion with evil, or even our intentional collusion with evil. We can turn and be redeemed, bought back, and forgiven if only we can see the error in our ways and throw ourselves back onto the inevitable and blessed grace of God. We need to navigate by the light of our hearts as well as the lights we see about us to get our bearings now in this particularly pressing moment in history. So let's carry that message of Epiphany into the coming days, into the coming year. This is the beginning of 2021. Let's keep our eyes on the prize. Through Jesus, I offer this message and wish you all the best in this new year of 2021. Thank you and goodbye. So thank you for spending time with us. If you'd like to know more about the ministry and work of the First Congregational Church of Rowley, you can go online at firstchurchrowley.org. If you'd like to send a gift to help with this work and ministry, you can send that to 175 Main Street, P.O. Box 364, Rowley, Mass. 01969, or you can do that online. And of course, we'd always like to hear from you. Call us anytime at 978-948-3993. So blessings and peace in this special time of year. We hope your journey is working for you. Goodbye.